From the Clark Ford Studio in Oxford, Mississippi, MBW Digital proudly presents the Oxford Exxon Podcast.
I'd say thanks for tuning in, but why am I going to give you a round of applause for something you're supposed to do, to be frank?
And now, here are your hosts, Chase Parham.
That broadcast school has really paid off.
And Neal McCready.
I deserve to be on TV.
Welcome to this Wednesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal McCready, Clark Ford Studio this morning. We know the game time still going toward Ole Miss and Arkansas this weekend, Saturday 11 o'clock for the first one. A couple afternoon games, Sunday and Monday if necessary. We told you yesterday, rain potentially in the forecast, but we'll get to that when the time comes. No reason to look ahead to that. The first 2 days of the MLB Draft are done, and frankly, couldn't have gone much better for Ole Miss from a signee standpoint. No signees through the first 10 rounds of the draft, to the ones that could have gone. Signability issues, really wanted to go to college unless the number was just right. So Ole Miss looking pretty good through the MLB Draft. Rounds 11 through 40 are today, and then 4 Ole Miss players have been picked to this point as well. So we'll go through that a little bit and more. We'll also visit today with Ole Miss recruiting coordinator Carl Lafferty. He'll join the podcast here in a bit. The podcast is brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford, the Blue Sky. You know about the ribs, you know about the lunch specials, the daiquiris that are available as the humidity and the temperatures have certainly risen. Here, as cheap as $3.99, as big as 44 ounces if you so wish. They got a lot of flavors. You can stop in, get one, take it with you, and have at it there at the Oxford Exxon and Blue Sky. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford Studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi. 662-257-1900 is the number. Call the number. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford you are looking for, and he'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's that simple. It's right to the bottom line. There's no hassle, no haggle. You get your quote, and kind of the rest is up to you. You can use it as a baseline for yourself moving forward. That's perfectly cool. Or you can go ahead and let Corey and the people at Clark Ford get you into that Ford vehicle. You will not regret it. Great service after the sale. Corey wants to be your truck guy. He wants to be your car guy. He'll prove it to you, and all you have to do is make that first phone call and get your quote and take it from there. And at the end of your deal, tell Corey that you heard about Clark Ford on the podcast. You'll save $500 off the great bottom line. 662-257-1900.
So we know about Greg Kessinger. He was taken the first night of the MLB Draft, 68th overall to the Astros. Just kind of recapping that. $953,100 is the slot value. For all these guys, I don't really see a reason why they wouldn't be getting right at their number or even maybe a little above it. So I think that everybody's pretty good in slot. Yesterday, 3 Rebels came off in the matter of 14 picks. Will Etheridge, our 5th-round pick to the Colorado Rockies. That's $327,000 on that one. 4 picks later, Thomas Dillard to the Brewers, $315,000, and then Cooper Johnson, $291,000. Tigers with pick 172. That is in the 6th round. So those guys were taken yesterday. Happy for all of them. They all will sign, of course. You know, I put this on the message board. I wrote about Cooper. If there's one guy I kind of feel bad for, it's him. I had talked directly and had some other scouts, through some other people, tell me that they really held a lot of his attitude problems from earlier in his career against him. Even at this point, he's not the same guy, and sometimes first impression's really hard to get over. I think the Tigers really got a steal there because Cooper not the same guy that he was in 2017. So if you're looking at one that a club got a lot of value, that's probably where I would start.
Yeah, he lost some money, but he'll have an opportunity to make it up. I still think he's a major league catcher.
Which is all that really matters. You get there. Figure it out.
Yeah, it's going to take him a little while to get there. He certainly lost some money up front. There's no way around that. I'm sure people will take that negatively. I don't mean for it to be a negative comment. It's just a factual comment. He lost some money up front, but he'll have an opportunity to get it back. There's no doubt in my mind. I watch a lot of Major League Baseball. I don't watch much college baseball at all. I watch a lot of Major League Baseball. And his defensive skill set is going to give him every opportunity in the world, not only to play in the bigs, but to stay in the bigs. And from what little I saw this year, his bat has improved. It has come around. And if he continues to progress offensively, he's got a chance to be a starting major league catcher.
I think there's still some guys to watch from an Ole Miss standpoint. I know it's day 3. I know a lot of times those guys don't sign, but 3 that kind of stick out to me a little bit. Cole Zabowski's going to get taken likely early. Today, I think there's a chance that he goes ahead and starts his professional career. Kind of no matter what that signing bonus is. If you want to, chance he comes back, but I still think there's a chance he goes as well. And then Austin Miller, the reliever, and Zach Phillips, I think both those guys could be day 3 signs also. So just kind of keep an eye out for them. And then I really have no idea on Parker Caracci. He did senior night. He has a year of eligibility remaining. I know that Mike was going to talk to him and basically say, hey, look, you don't have to sign. You can come back. Don't feel like you're just obligated. So those are the ones that everything's worked out real well. But if you think, oh, well, the 10th round's over, everything's cool, it probably is for the signees for the most part. But I think for the current players, there's still some things to watch there as you move ahead. And then for the signees, it couldn't have gone better. Ole Miss currently ranked 4th nationally for this class. I think they have a really good chance of overtaking Florida for number 3. Got an outside shot of catching LSU for number 2. Unless there is a mass exodus, I don't see anybody catching Vanderbilt at number 1. They've got about a 60-point lead on Ole Miss right now, 1-4, and that's a lot. That's like 5 or 6 top 50 kids. So I think Vanderbilt's safe with the top spot, but I do think Ole Miss probably about to crawl up into the top 3, if nothing else, here as they get their signees to campus, and then other teams lose some signees to ball because they don't put the, unlike football where you're like, oh, the day signing day happens, hey, here's the rankings. Well, duh, baseball guys can leave. So we don't know the exact recruiting ranking list until the deadline passes next month. But as of right now, Ole Miss in pretty good shape there. Obviously, the huge news yesterday was Jerry and Ely. I guess the news, Neil, and let's try to get nuanced on this a little bit. Which has been somewhat complicated as it pertains to Ely because of his status.
It's also complicated by, if we're being honest, the desire of some to almost propagandize this. Does that make sense? There are people that there's all this spin involved in it, and this is one of those deals that to report it accurately, to discuss it accurately, it requires some honesty, and it requires a lot of nuance.
So Jerry and Ely reports yesterday, it was an ESPN report, I guess midday, something like that he's going to show up at Ole Miss. He's going to play both sports, something that little insight. It really wasn't even a report. I'll give the reporter credit. I have some insight on this because I sort of saw it develop because of where I was at the time. Jerry and Ely sent out a tweet that just was the HYDR. Yeah.
And a reporter took that tweet, made an assumption, sent a couple of text messages asking for clarification, was basically told, yeah, I think that's what it means. And he just sort of rolled with it, which is cool. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Because the bottom line is, and you know this, because the draft starts today. Again, the part about Ely informing teams, or his representation informing teams, that's the news, if that is indeed accurate. His representation telling teams, hey, don't even bother at this point. That's the news. But what really kind of made it, quote, breaking news yesterday was he put out a tweet, and there was kind of an assumption that was based off that tweet, and then people started all running with it.
At this point, there's no way he gets enough money, unless he's just crazy, to bypass Ole Miss football. That we know for sure.
Agreed.
There's still the chance that he gets a wild hair because somebody offers him couple $100,000 to play professional baseball while still playing college football. I do not expect it to happen because the more people I talk to, they said that professional clubs just didn't see that as something that was in their favor because he's not going to be the guy that goes and grinds in the Gulf Coast League or the guy that really puts in tons of time as a craft project. And that they thought that, yeah, while he's got all the tools in the world, it probably was a waste of money. So I think there was kind of the decision to, hey, just let him go and let's see how this college career shakes out a little bit. At least with a lot of clubs. Again, it only takes one, so if the Reds or somebody comes in today, okay.
Right.
But I know a lot of clubs that went, nah, we're good. We just don't see that as the way to go here.
Exactly. That's the part that is, and I feel like people are, because I've had some people kind of push back on some things that I've even posted on the message board. There's nothing stopping the Chicago White Sox or the Seattle Mariners or pick your baseball team from taking him today in the 16th round and throwing $200,000 at him to be a 10-day-a-year player. Nothing. He can, his representation can, quote, take his name out, and they can still draft him and throw a flyer at him. That's kind of my point, is that you don't, this isn't like the NBA draft where you take your name out of the draft, where you're no longer draft eligible. Brian Tyree, for example, took his name out of the draft. An NBA team cannot draft Brian Tyree later this month. He's not eligible to be drafted. Jerry Neely remains eligible to be drafted unless he starts classes in August. Then he's not eligible for 3 years to be drafted. That's the way it works. So it's still conceivable that a team could take, like you said, could take him and throw some money at him. The news yesterday, it wasn't really even news anymore because it had become obvious that this is what was going to happen. The news is that he's going to play football. That no baseball team is going to draft him high enough to put the money in front of him that would get him to bypass his college football career.
Yeah, he sat around. He waited to see if somebody was willing to make that really early jump and give him a lot of money. And when that didn't happen, he made a decision. Okay, good for him. I mean, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not talking bad about the kid. I hope the kid's very successful. He seems like a good dude. It's just, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to play both sports at the college level. It is. And if you don't have equal success in both sports, it would be very easy to just drop one and go, let's focus on what's working. That's the thing. Like, I don't want fans, because it's not fair to Jerry and it's not fair to anybody to have these expectations that it's going to be this all-American type career in both sports immediately. There's one that he's much more suited for right now. So just let him show up. Let him get into college. Let him figure it out a little bit, because he's very good in the outfield. He can really run, obviously. Duh. He's not ready to hit yet. And if you can't hit, can't really play. So he'll get a chance. He's free. I mean, Mike Bianco has to be elated today because he gets John Rice Plumlee and Jerry Neely for completely free. Whatever he gets out of them, bargain. Good, great, whatever. If they're All-Americans, even better. If they just are pinch runners, even better. All good. So it's a big deal for the baseball program, but Mike's not salivating over the situation like Matt Luke is. Matt Luke has all reason to pour whatever his nicest bottle is and go, hey, this is big. Mike's got a wait-and-see approach, and frankly, he's got a guy that if Jerry wants to stick it out and really try college baseball, Mike's got a guy he's got to really develop a little bit. He's got to put some work in here.
Yeah. We'll see in the spring when it rolls around, and you know how it is at Swayze in late February when it's about 7 degrees out there, and you're sitting on a bench for 8 innings, 3 hours to come in and pinch run. And then you got to go still get your football workout in, and all that. You still got class and all that stuff. How much does he really love baseball? We'll find out. And look, I'm with you. People think this is being negative. It's best for us if he's a two-way superstar. If he's Kyler Murray, we can sell it. We can promote that. I mean, we can write about it. We can talk about it.
It's fun to cover. I mean, that's good.
But what we're trying to tell you is, and we both are talking to separate people because I don't have any idea who Chase's baseball people are, but I've talked to some baseball people. He's not ready to hit SEC pitching. Nowhere close to ready to hit SEC pitching. His baseball stock really fell off in the past year. And frankly, Kyler Murray didn't help him any because baseball people are terrified of the two-way prospects right now.
No, that definitely hurt him.
Yeah, it hurt him a lot. So, but as of today, I mean, that's the deal. Now, does he stick it out? I mean, he absolutely has the tools, But Mike's not going to have him, Mike Bianco's not going to have him in the fall and in the offseason to work on those tools. He's not going to go up to the Cape or wherever, or Illinois or wherever, and play summer ball and work on his tools. He's going to be doing football conditioning. And in August, he's going to be, in September and October and November, he's going to be playing football. He's not going to be playing fall baseball, where it's a lot of instruct. He's not going to be getting his swings in until, realistically, at the very earliest, December, where he might be able to run over there and get some swings in. And to say he'll be behind is an understatement. And then, look at the MLB draft. Look at all the kids from just Arkansas, just the team that Ole Miss is going to face this weekend. They've had, 4 arms drafted in the first 2 days of the draft? Those are the cats you hit against in this league. He's not ready for that. So there's this, where's he going to play? Well, the answer right now is he's not. Now, in football, where's he going to play? He'll play running back. They're going to figure out ways to get him the ball. I can say this now. I talked to Derek Nix about this on, I don't remember. I was over there 3 days. I'll be back over there again today. I think it was Friday. And we were just kind of talking about Ely, and Derek was nervous about the draft because it only takes one team. It was only going to take one team. Felt good about it. I said, how impactful is he right away? And he said, he's a game changer. Gives them, along with Scotty Phillips, gives them another weapon. Gives them the ability to put some other guys in more appropriate roles in the backfield. Frankly, it makes a guy like Devon Penniman better.
Isaiah Woolard.
Yeah, you're not asking Isaiah Woolard to be a starting SEC running back because he's not one. He's not one. I mean, that's reality. He's not one. Is he a good player? Yeah, he's a good player. But he's not a hand him the ball 20 times a game SEC guy. He's just not. And you saw that at the end of the season. Doesn't mean he's not a good SEC player, but it allows you to refine a more specific role for those kinds of players. It allows you to push them back, and it probably allows you to save some tread on Scotty Phillips' tires early in the season. He's an impactful, explosive guy with another level and another gear that if he gets into the open field, he's really dangerous. He allows you to – he gives you some quick strike potential that even Scotty doesn't give them. He gives them a different kind of a running back. So it's very impactful in football. Like you said, I mean, if you're Matt Luke, I don't know what Matt drinks or doesn't drink or whatever, but you pour out one of the good ones. If you're Mike, it's someone put it on the message board exactly right. I mean, it's walking out of the casino and you discover a $10 chip that I didn't know I had that. It's cool. It's good news. It's not life-changing. And then if he turns out to be a guy that develops quickly, well, then, yeah, the tools are there.
Yeah, you look up in 2 years and he's Jackie Bradley. Okay, then here we go.
Right. This is the part that people don't understand for whatever reason. And I think it's because, and the people that we're referencing, and there's nothing wrong with this, I'm not criticizing, because there are some people that only watch professional sports that don't watch college sports. And there are some people that only watch college sports and don't watch professional sports. Those people exist, and it's cool. It's fine. But I think the people who don't keep up with professional baseball don't understand that when a baseball team drafts a high school kid high in the draft, they're drafting him on his tools, and they're in no hurry at all. Let's take the Abrams kid that I can't remember who took him 5th pick in the draft, whatever the other day, 6th pick in the draft. That kid, he's going to go play rookie ball somewhere. And they're going to tell him very early on, don't look at your stats. Literally, don't look at them. Don't know them. We're not worried about them. He's going to play a year of low A that is going to be nothing but development. Nothing but development. Absolutely nothing but development. They're going to be guys that get drafted as pitchers right in the last couple of days that they're going to go pitch in rookie league or whatever, where they're going to be on a 45 pitch count where they get taken out with a 1-ball, 1-strike count somewhere in the 4th inning. And they're going to look up like, what the hell? No, we had a plan today. We're not worried about the game. Outcome doesn't matter. We're worried about your location. We're worried about your pitch execution. We're worried about stuff like that. We're not in a hurry. We're developing. Mike Bianco, in case you haven't noticed, is because people were talking about firing him just 3 weeks ago. He doesn't have that luxury. You don't really have the luxury of saying, hey, I tell you what, Jerry, I'm going to put you in center field and you're going to hit 8th, and we really don't give a damn about your batting average. Don't worry about it. Don't know. He doesn't have that luxury. He's got to win those games because those games determine whether he hosts a regional at the end of the season. So it's a completely different deal because he has the tools to be a Major League Baseball player doesn't mean that he's ready to be one today or ready to even be a college player today, because the truth is he's not.
Yeah. We'll continue that shortly. We'll go to Carl in a second. Before we do that, we'll tell you about Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis, so you're getting local underwriting and understands your market. A leader in condo financing in Oxford, and the float down option, which you know by now allows you to lock in the current rate. But if rates go down before you close, you just get the lower rate. 662-234-2704 or JLOWE@communitymtg.com.
Father's Day is coming up soon. It's June the 16th, actually. It's the perfect time to break the monotony of boring Father's Day gifts with a pair of Mississippi-made Blue Delta jeans. So don't get Dad another tie or some tool set or something. Get him a pair of jeans that you know he'll love, and he'll be able to wear them for years to come. If you can't get him into the Oxford studio between now and Father's Day, it's okay. Send an email to Blue Delta Jeans. It's info, I-N-F-O, at BlueDeltaJeans.com to purchase a gift card that Blue Delta can ship out to Dad for his big day. And speaking of coming to Oxford, Ole Miss orientation is in full swing in June. If you're coming to town, it's a perfect time to drop in the studio and check out Blue Delta's raw denim and Holland and Sherry fabrics, as well as the new spring-summer collection and their new tactical camo pants. You don't want to be the parents wearing poorly fitting jeans at orientation. You want to look sharp for your kids. So Blue Delta is the way to go. Again, info at BlueDeltaJeans.com. Podcast is also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They have a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. You can go in, test drive one today. Tell Gene and Sandy that you heard about Grenada Nissan on the podcast, and you'll get Rebel savings on top of the already great deals at Grenada Nissan. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. Carl Lafferty and all other guests join us on the Patterson and Earhart hotline. Patterson and Earhart, attorneys at law. They specialize in personal injury law and real estate law, but theirs is a general practice that can handle any of your legal needs. When you contact Patterson and Earhart, you speak to one of the partners in the firm, and that's who handles your case, not some paralegal at a faceless corporate firm. So get in touch with them if you think you have a legal issue. If you just want to kind of get a feel for whether you need to pursue something, take advantage of being a podcast listener. Give them a call at 662-526-1992 or go to their website, pelaws.com. Your initial consultation is free. And we're brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. Pinnacle Trust, based in Madison, Mississippi, represents clients in 24 states, has advisors in 3. What they do is they provide detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much more. At Pinnacle Trust, investing is treated like a commodity. Decisions are made using objective information and research, not emotions. So regardless of your level of wealth, Pinnacle Trust will sit down with you, listen to your goals, study your expenses, and put forth a comprehensive, detailed financial and retirement plan that is built just for you. It's pintrust.com, PINN trust.com. Mention you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the podcast. You'll get 10% off your first year's fee.
Now here's Carl Lafferty on the Patterson and Earhart hotline. Carl, appreciate some time this morning. You guys headed to Fayetteville, but I know you're dealing with the Major League Draft right now. 3 days of what I assume is basically just torture, right? Because you obviously care about these kids. You want them to do well, but at the end of the day, you don't need them to do too well. You'd like a few of them to show up to school.
No question. I think any recruiting coordinator in our league, they're taking a lot of acid reflux medicine these next few days, and just trying to do their homework, trying to see where guys fall on draft boards, trying to figure out signability, and, ultimately trying to, like you said, get your kids to campus so you can put a really good team on the field.
How do you go about talking to them in the last weeks, days, whatever? Do you sort of just leave them alone, let them enjoy the process? Do you just let them know you're here if they need anything? What are these last 10, 14 days like leading up to this week?
Well, it's super emotional for the kids. I think you in 90% of the cases, unless they've had older brothers, it's the first time and only time, these families will go through this process. And it's extremely hectic. It gets really fast and furious as you get down to the draft. And, I think our goal, it really starts a long time before these couple weeks. It starts, the fall of their senior year or, 6, 7, 8 months out, and just trying to, educate them about, hey, this is how the draft works. This is how this system really is, because a lot of families don't know. And by arming them with information, we try to develop a good relationship with them and, kind of figure out, hey, what are they looking for when it gets to draft day, and help them, have a good plan in place. And then ultimately see the value that Major League Baseball is putting on them. And if, those values match up, then, we have a pretty good idea that they're going to sign and run out and become a professional baseball player.
You got pamphlets, you got PowerPoints, you just got what's in your head. How does this work to educate these people?
I don't think we've gone so far as pamphlets. I think that may be a good idea. But I know, Coach B, go in home with them, and, he's terrific. We have some PowerPoints and some different things that are just really facts. They're not, subjective things, or I think people, think from the college side that it's some type of propaganda and selling point, and it's really not. It's basically, going to these families that, like I said, really they're not familiar with the process, and going, okay, this is the draft. This is the information based around the draft. This is what it looks like to go down, this path of signing out of high school. And this is what it looks like to go down this path of coming to college, and then after college, starting your professional career. These are the statistics and numbers associated with each. And then you have to, the family has to decide, okay, this is the amount of money that it would take for me to forego going the college route and sign out of high school. And I think once you can kind of lay it out there, and it's different for each family. Each family comes up with their, the value that they put on it, and that's totally up to them. The thing we try to do is just, develop a good relationship with our recruits, so the families will keep us in the loop. And so when we kind of know what the families are thinking, and you can kind of take a poll of Major League Baseball, and you go, oh man, it's going to line up, as far as what he can get and what he wants. Then you start to, the picture starts to clear up. And then there's times that it's really hairy, it's really close, and you don't know, how it's going to fall, because when draft day happens, things shuffle up in those, draft rooms as far as those boards. And so it's a lot of anxious moments over these 3 days.
College baseball is so restrictive, from the 11.7, the 35, all these parameters you guys have to meet. Is almost some of it just having to be a mathematician to figure out, okay, I've got all these guys coming in, but then I potentially have signees signing. I got juniors that maybe are back as seniors, not back. I mean, what is the extra elements of having to just deal with putting your roster together in a scholarship standpoint when you have a huge class like this that's probably end up going to rank in the top 3 or 4 in the country?
Well, I should have been an accounting major.
Okay.
Criminal justice didn't prepare me for the math that I had to do. Now I'm teasing, but yeah, it's complicated. But I think the biggest thing that you have to look at is you have to have a feel for your kids and the kids coming in, and it's a constant evolving thing over the course of the year, from where they are in the fall, meaning your signees and your current players. How the spring starts to go along, and you just kind of have to continue to build, and you have a plan. You know that a lot of times in the spring semester, I'm not saying everyone, it can be high school kids at times, but a lot of times you try to go find junior college players that are having great years to try to plug gaps, because maybe some kids that you didn't expect are having better years than you thought, and hey, now we need a piece because we're going to lose this player on our current roster. And then, the other thing is there may be some years where you go, oh, this guy's not having quite the year he wants to, so maybe we'll not go get that JUCO player in the spring. But it's constantly evolving. It's recruiting is a living, breathing thing. It's never over. It never stops. It never sleeps. And how you do your roster and where you are, it's a thing that literally we look at every single day. In our office, we have weekly meetings, which I know sounds normal if you're in the football world, but we sit down as a staff and talk about recruiting and where we are right now, where we are next year, and where we are the year after, and maybe even the year after that. So it's something it's difficult, and like you said, with the Major League Draft on the front end with players coming in, and on the back end with your underclass or with your juniors that could sign or could come back, it gets hairy for sure.
Let's talk about a couple of your current freshmen. They've received All-American honors, freshman All-American honors today. Doug Nikhazy's going to take the ball for you guys on Sunday, I would assume. And he's had just such a mentality you don't always see in freshmen over the course of the year. He doesn't seem to be bothered by much. He gets kind of fiery. Is that something that you notice when you're recruiting a guy like that? Is that something that's sort of a crapshoot on how these guys respond and transition to SEC baseball, or how did you kind of see some of his mental efforts as the year going on?
Well, and I know this sounds kind of crazy, but it's both. And what I mean by that, you can see when you recruit, you look for competitive kids. You look for kids that have emotion. Doug is a really unique dude, and I know there's been a lot written about him and talked about him, but he is super competitive. He's very comfortable in his own skin. He wasn't just the baseball guy in high school. I mean, he was like captain of the debate team and was, involved with a lot of different things on his high school campus other than athletics. But you saw that in a young age with him. You saw the competitiveness. The kid, he's always been a kid that even when he was a commitment of ours when he was in the 9th grade, and obviously he wasn't throwing the baseball like he is right now as far from a velocity standpoint, but he always had the feel and the command and the competitiveness, which is something you like, especially in an arm that's left-handed. And what I mean by when I say it's both is because you can see that in players. You can see that in kids in high school, and a lot of times the kids we're recruiting in high school, they don't face too much adversity because they're really good. So when they get to a college campus and they step on the field in the SEC for the first time, they can kind of change. That's one of the things we try to coach and try to challenge them with is, hey, just be who you are. Don't be different. Have the same approach, all the same thing, just like you did in high school. The neat thing about Doug is he can really do that. And there's been guys that have come through that you've seen like that, but it's not an easy thing. And he's just he's a mentally tough kid. He's a competitive kid, and obviously, very, very talented on the mound.
Kevin Graham, the other guy that gets freshman All-American honors today, somebody who wasn't even really in the lineup at the start of the year. He's got 10 home runs. He's got 5 over the last 15 games. The hit tools seem to be there from people I've talked to, but was this kind of maybe raw power this early something that was noticed?
Well, and you're correct. The hit tool was always there. I mean, that was the reason he was recruited here. He always had the ability to square up the baseball, and he always had a little bit of juice. It wasn't like he was a slap hitter or anything like that. The power, I think, one of the biggest strides or the biggest differences with him, I think from the time that he got here last summer and has been in our strength and conditioning program with Coach Boone, I want to say he's gained 15, 18 pounds. And so he's just, the hit tool, the ability to strike the baseball and create leverage in his swing has always been there. But now he's just he's a bigger, stronger human being. And so now, more balls are traveling out the yard and he's seen the benefits of the hard work that he put in over the last 8 months in our strength and conditioning program. But I think there's more room for him to grow. And what I mean by that is, he's still a lanky kid. I think he's going to continue to get stronger. And, obviously you see the way he can square up a baseball. So very, very proud of him. Very proud of him. It's always cool when you see freshmen have success, and it's, exciting for the future of your program as well.
We talked to Mike a good bit about this, but you guys had that lull right there toward the end of the year in Mississippi State and Tennessee, and then just kind of found your baseball at the right time. From your standpoint, don't necessarily anything tangible per se, but I mean, what sort of led to that? I mean, did you see it coming? Did it kind of come out of nowhere, or what allowed you guys to kind of turn it around a little bit?
Well, I think, much has been said about this team and this, the juniors and the recruiting class and whatnot. And obviously they have, lofty expectations for themselves. I think, in baseball it's such an emotional game. And what I mean by that is your confidence in the way you think can absolutely, dictate the way you play. It's much different than a lot of sports where, the physical comes in more so than the mental. Baseball there's a huge mental component to it. But I think it kind of just, that lull is something that, I mean, if you look at the course of a lot of, for a lot of teams, a lot of seasons, that can happen. We had a bad weekend against our arch rival here, and it really hurt those guys. I mean, I think it made them, I don't want to say sick inside. I mean, they wanted to win that weekend as bad or more than any weekend that, they played, over the course of the year. And obviously we didn't play our best baseball and things didn't work out, but, you travel to Arkansas State. It's kind of a ho-hum, you blow a game and you get to Tennessee. And then, I think that they were 18 to 22-year-old kids in a little tight. They were gripping it too tight, wanting to succeed, wanting to win, feeling like they needed to win to host. And I thought Coach B had a great message for them. He grabbed them after the second game in Tennessee and just told them, hey, guys, you can't do this. You're playing baseball like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. You just got to let it go, man, and just say the heck with it and just play. Just be yourselves and come out here and play and let the chips fall where they may. And, when this team does that, they can be really, really good. And I think that kind of clicked for them. And, once we, the final game at Tennessee and into the SEC tournament, I think they just really started, they took a breath. They exhaled and they just said, we're just going to go play. Whatever happens, happens, but we're going to leave it all out on the field. And they played some really good baseball.
Got a last thing here. The other top freshman in your rotation, Gunnar Hoagland. He's come on the last few weeks. He had finished the regular season maybe with some of his best outings, and then there in Hoover. What's his sort of progression been like during his freshman year?
Well, I think it's just maturity. It happens different for a freshman from freshman to freshman. If you look at him over the course of the year, I think he's always been a strike thrower. I think that he is starting to relax. I think his confidence has grown. I think his belief has grown. I think he, even for talented kids, man, when you step in the on the field of the Southeastern Conference, it's a lot different than, the high school kids that you were facing just a year ago. And, that is like we just, commented about the team, the mental state, the confidence standpoint is huge. It's huge in our game. And I think he's, the confidence has just started to grow. You've seen his fastball velocity tick up. I really think he's done a terrific job developing his breaking ball. I think it's gotten better and better as the season's gone along. He's always had a good changeup. And I think he's really, starting to understand, what we see as coaches and how talented he is, but he's really starting to believe he's as good as anybody in the country. And the truth is he is. He's as talented as any guy that, runs out on the mound, and it's starting to click for him, here at the end of the season.
Well, Laff, appreciate the time. Good luck this weekend, and let's do it once the draft's completely over, and we can talk about that a little bit.
Absolutely. Appreciate your time, Chase.
Thanks to Carl for what is obviously a pretty busy week as they head toward Fayetteville here in a day or so. Podcast brought to you also by Mastercuts Lawn and Landscape. Premium lawn care throughout northern Mississippi. They offer a lot more as well. Custom playgrounds, retaining walls, pool decks, outdoor living spaces, paver patios, forestry mulching, and more. The path to your dream backyard. Easier than you think with Mastercuts. That's gomastercuts.com or a free quote at 662-607-7773.
I will be publishing my mailbag sometime today, probably late today, actually. It is brought to you by the Westin Jackson, where you can visit Soul Spa. It's the ultimate luxury spa experience in downtown Jackson. You can also gather at Estelle Wine Bar and Bistro. Sip on a creative craft cocktail. Enjoy their curated wine list. It's open for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch. And you can't go wrong with Chef Caden's many offerings. So gather at Estelle at the Westin Jackson tonight. The podcast also brought to you in part by John Edwards of Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. You know how this works by now. You get in touch with John. You give him some parameters. You give him a budget. And he'll give you some options that you will not find on your own. It's absolutely worth your time to get in touch with him, to give him a budget, to give him some parameters, and let him come up with some ideas that you won't have because you're not part of Virtuoso. It's a worldwide network of travel partners that allows him to supply his clients with added values and unique benefits that are simply not available to other travelers. And the odds are you haven't traveled the globe for 37 years the way that John has. He knows how to make a special trip, one that creates a lifetime of unique memories. So get in touch with him, 901-494-3387, or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. And we're brought to you by Harry Alexander. Harry is an Oxford-based RE/MAX Legacy Realty agent. He's a big part of Savannah Square. It's a new 9-acre development, 7/10 of a mile from the Oxford downtown square, conveniently located east of North Lamar, just a short stroll from the Midtown Shopping Center, which houses, Snack Bar and BBB and Track 61 and all of those kinds of places. Savannah Square will initially consist of 32 standalone detached structures ranging in size from about 1,100 square feet to about 2,400 square feet. The model home is available for your inspection now. It's at 215 William Street. You can check out all the wonderful layouts and impeccable finishes that are available when you go to the William Street model. So get in touch with Harry. Check it out on the web. It's savannahsquareoxford.com, and then send him a call or a text at 662-801-5621.
A lot of talk, obviously, about Ely and Plumlee because of the football background. From a baseball standpoint, I think the biggest news, kind of 3-4 headed that could have gone against Ole Miss in the draft. You got Connor Walsh, the shortstop out of Florida. He could have gotten $1 million. There's no doubt about that, as we said yesterday. But he's a CAA client. He had a big time signability. He shows up. Ole Miss got somewhat fortunate because Derek Diamond, the kid that Stanford didn't take, and then Drew McDaniel out of Lafayette, St. Thomas More. They both had some injuries, were kind of banged up, dropped their stock a little bit. That goes for Wes Burton, the big 6'8" right-hander out of Santa Monica that designs all the Dodgers cleats that I wrote about last year. Those guys were hurt, so that helped them out a lot. Some teams didn't see them at full strength in the spring, kind of stunted the scouting process a little bit, and Ole Miss is the ones that are fortunate for that because they do have to retool this lineup. They're losing a lot of guys. They also had to make sure this class counted because it's when the money comes off from all the 16s. Because, with Ole Miss, and not to get into the big scholarship situation, but when you have 11.7 and 16 and you use up so many of those with that class, well, you're kind of tight for a little while until now they're coming off the books and you've got to hit a home run with that next class to retool it, or you get into a little bit of a lull where you have a down year. So they've done a really good job here kind of replenishing the cupboard, if you will. But Walsh, Diamond, McDaniel, and then Hayden Dunhurst, who was probably the top guy off the board if everything went without signability being an issue. I think everybody felt pretty good on Monday or on Tuesday once he fell and didn't get taken by the Marlins at 82. That was kind of the last spot where they said, hey, somebody might throw 7 figures at him. You're not real sure. Instead, Dunhurst coming to school, the big-time catcher prospect out of Pearl River Central, and Ole Miss needs some catching depth. It's huge on just depth overall. It's huge because he's a good player. And frankly, because Knox Lapasser's the incumbent starter before Dunhurst gets on campus, because Cooper Johnson's going to leave, it just gives some competition. You don't want one guy, especially a young guy, to know it's his job no matter what. Instead, you're bringing in a top-rated recruit, you're bringing in somebody to challenge him, and I think that makes everybody better. I think, in a lot of ways, Dunhurst is maybe the top guy getting to campus, because what he does to the program in a couple different fashions. So.
Yeah, you'd like to have more than one catcher, too, especially when a catcher can break a finger or something on any particular pitch.
Well, because Ole Miss lived a little dangerously. They went with, I know Dillard can catch, but they basically went with one catcher for a good bit of the year, or at least a little while, because Lapasser was hurt. He had that stress fracture in his knee, and it was kind of Cooper Johnson or nothing back there.
Yeah, those were probably some sleepless moments I'm going to guess.
One foul tip off the wrong thing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's it. So, saw Vanderbilt lost some kids. Saw South Carolina lost some kids. I see the Florida commit Matthew Allen. The Mets are trying to make room for him. They took him early, and then they started just taking tons of college kids and tons of seniors after that to pay way under slot and give all the money to Matt Allen. So we'll see if that works. And that would be the one name, if they can sign him, that would push Ole Miss up over Florida if you care about recruiting rankings for whatever that matters. But anyway, if you want some drama, I did see that. Jake Mangum, one of the guys that the Mets took to save some cash there.
Yeah.
There at that point.
Yeah. I mean, not even, that's pretty transparent.
Yeah.
Fourth round pick. Yeah. I'm going to go out on a limb and say he doesn't get fourth round money.
Yeah, hey, we got a guy that has a huge history of hitting in the SEC. He's got a hit tool. He can run a little bit, and we can pay him like a Snickers bar and $5,000. Okay, sure. Why not? Let's do that.
Yeah, and they'll give him they'll give him a couple 3 years. I mean,
oh, of course. Yeah. Who knows?
He's got the tools to perhaps, help somebody a little bit.
Well, it is the Mets. Who knows what they might give him or not give him?
That's true. They might give first round money. Yeah,
because say you hate to get too far on what the Mets may or may not do.
I'm just impressed by Tim Corbin's math skills. It's his ability to take 11.7 and utilize it in ways that other people can't blows me away.
Whoever his capologist is, kind of like the professional teams have. I mean, like the Saints should hire that person.
Yeah,
they really should. As much money as the Saints blow, they should find a way to hire the Vanderbilt baseball capologist.
I think it's Corbin. I think he does it all himself.
That's why he makes so much money, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just very efficient.
I mean, we don't know how much he makes because that's all hidden because they're a private school, but
probably not much. I mean, it's a little engine that could, man. I mean, you got to keep that thing on bare bones.
On bare bones. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I get it. UCLA won the Women's College World Series, if anyone cares. No offense, but just whatever. I saw it as I'm scrolling.
Walk-off fashion.
Do what?
They won it in dramatic walk-off fashion.
Did they?
Yep.
Okay. Who hit the home run?
No, it was a single.
Oh, it was a single. Okay.
It was a play at the plate, and they don't have replay. I would have been curious to see the replay.
Was it close?
It was real close. I think the girl that slid into the plate, I think she might have gotten tagged.
Well, that's not good. Why do they not have replay?
I don't know.
How do you not have replay there?
It beats me.
That makes no sense. College sports, man.
Yeah, and if someone correct me. I wasn't watching. I kind of read about it on Twitter. I don't think the play was replayed because I don't think there was replay there.
Okay. I mean, I have no idea. They might just not have replay in softball at all.
No, I think they did because they had it at the SEC tournament. I thought.
Okay.
I don't watch a lot of softball, but I seem to remember there being a replay or two at the SEC tournament.
Have you found a crap take of the day today?
There's lots, but no, I don't have one specific one, which I know is not good. I need to find like a specific one. It's been a weird morning because I've been trying to get. I could go on a rant here. I just don't need to. Teach your kids how to communicate. Here's. I'll do it without insulting anyone.
Okay.
Teach your kids. All jokes aside, I get like 2 questions in my mailbag today are about parenting, and I don't know why you're asking me. I try hard, but I don't think anybody would ever confuse me for Dad of the Year. Teach your kids to communicate, and when I say that, I mean in writing. Teach your kids to respond to the emails that they get. Teach your kids to respond to follow up on things. If your kids are supposed to be someplace at, say, 8:30 in the morning, teach your kids to send the text that says, I'm on my way, I'm going to be there on time, or I might be 2 minutes late. Communicate. Because I'm telling you, it is a lost art. It is a lost skill in our society, and the people who actually can just do basic communication skills are going to go a lot further on that than they would have in the past, where in the past everyone generally had that sort of conscientiousness.
Is it communication or is it just overall courtesy?
It's both. It's courtesy. It's being conscientious. It's being courteous.
Because in this situation, you don't even care if the grammar's correct. We're not talking about even formulating it correctly. It's just saying it. Period.
Yeah. Let me know. Yeah.
You can grunt in my direction in this instance.
Yeah. It's how you it's how you keep business. It's how you get business. It's certainly how you lose business. It's not complicated. But I'm telling you, when I tell you it's a lost skill, it's a lost skill. It's deteriorating. So there's your. Some people will say that's your crap take of the day. I don't think it's a crap take of the day. I think I gave pretty good advice there. But regardless, the crap take of the day is brought to you by Scoopers Pet Waste Removal, LLC. Everyone loves their pets. No one loves stepping in their pet stuff, though, and so tracking that stuff into your house is a nightmare. Scoopers will go into your backyard, apartment complex, or condominium and pick up what no one really wants to pick up. And for $10 of cleaning, Scoopers will clean up your yard. They'll do it on your schedule, whether that's weekly, bi-weekly, or a one-time service. No contracts are required. You can cancel at any time. If you have multiple dogs, it's just $2 for each additional dog. So if you own a home, a condo, or an apartment complex in Oxford, and you'd like to deal with a lot less crap, call Scoopers at 662-506-2754 or simply send them an email at scoopers.oxfordpetwaste@gmail.com to get your cleanings scheduled today. Scoopers Pet Waste Removal, they're number one and your pet's number two business. The podcast also brought to you by 7 South Tailgating. 7 South is the premier tailgating service provider at Ole Miss. They offer your standard tailgating services such as tent, table, and chair setup and breakdown, but they offer so much more. They'll set up, break down, and store your own personal gear, or you can rent from them. They offer cooler, ice, beverage service, TV, satellite generator service, storage bins for supplies and decor, chandeliers, tablecloths, tent sidewalls, pretty much whatever the heck you could think of for your tailgate, however simple or extravagant you want it to be, they'll take care of you. What you need to do is just call them, go online today or give them a call and get a detailed quote customized to your specific needs at 662-321-1682 or 7southtailgating.com. And we're brought to you by Oxford University Bank, OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB gives you the comfort of home, all the benefits the big mega banks provide, all the technology and products you can want, all with the personal touch. They also give you Kasasa. It's the absolute best cash checking account. And with Kasasa, OUB will pay customers 2.5% interest on their balances up to $50,000 and refund ATM fees nationwide. They also have a commercial checking account now paying 1% interest as long as you keep $10,000 in the account. It comes with fully interactive online banking. To learn more about OUB, check out liveoxfordbankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured.
Podcast is brought to you by G&M Pharmacy there on South Lamar in Oxford. They deliver local in the Oxford area to your home or workplace. They've got MedSync to make sure you're taking the medicine you need on the schedule that you need it, and the CBD oil that is really, really big right now. An all-natural product helps maintain overall health and regulate many conditions such as depression, anxiety, pain, insomnia, and more. That it's FDA approved. That it is the right potency, consistency, purity, and more when you get it from G&M. And you can go in, you can ask them about it on South Lamar, or give them a call and transfer your medications while you're at it at 662-236-2222. Former Ole Miss target, LSU signee Maurice Hampton, he turned down quite the payday yesterday. Multiple teams were interested in Maurice Hampton during the first couple rounds of the draft. The highest offer he was given was $1.8 million, but the 17-year-old turned down the money and now will play baseball and football at LSU. So, emotionally it was tough, but in my head I knew what I wanted and I didn't get it, so it was a no-brainer, Hampton Jr. said. My bottom line number was around 275. My thing was if he could bring it in at 175, million home and net income, he could secure himself for 15 years, said his father, Maurice Hampton Sr. We had a plan for him, and if we couldn't get that, then we weren't going to budge.
I will applaud their conviction. I hope for the kid's sake it works out.
What would your number be if Carson was a prospect?
It would be really difficult for me to let Carson leave $1 million plus on the table.
7 figures net.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how I could look him in the eye and say, this is smart.
So we're talking 1.5 before.
Probably.
Ish.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he would have the benefit of a support system that would allow him to save that money. And no, $1 million isn't, quote, life-changing, but it is.
The plan for Hampton Jr. to have enough was for Hampton to have enough net income from the bonus to pay himself a yearly salary of $98,000 over the next decade and a half. We looked it up. The upper class was 78 to 121 per year, so we put him right in the middle, around 98 per year. He would invest half of his money and give himself a salary that he could live on, and if he made it to the Major League Baseball, he could then add on to it. We wanted it to be where if he could secure for him and he wasn't going to just go, there would be a reason behind why he was going.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I'm not criticizing. I just know how violent college football is, and you can go get hurt where your athletic career is basically over, and I don't know where he's going to go right out of college making $98,000 a year. I don't know what the kid wants to do or what his degree plan is or whatnot. And, you know, nothing against LSU, but LSU's fine. I know a lot of people who went to LSU and loved it. No one has ever put LSU in the higher echelon of academic powerhouses.
He believes that the Kyler Murray situation probably prevented the signing bonus from being high enough to go.
Yeah, Kyler did not do any favors to two-way players, two sport players. He did no favors. And, I mean, look, listen, it worked out for Kyler Murray, and good for him. I'm not criticizing Kyler Murray.
It's not his problem.
No, not at all. But if you don't think Major League Baseball felt kind of burned by Kyler Murray taking the A's money, he returned it, but taking the money, taking their pick, and then leaving and going to play football, you're mistaken. It absolutely hurt kids like Hampton. No question about it. Much more than it hurt a kid like Ely, where I think there were baseball people having legitimate questions about whether or not he could play.
Yeah.
My understanding is people feel like Hampton could play.
Jeffrey's high on him. He's seen him a lot.
Yeah. The baseball people I've talked to think that he could have had a relatively short path to the bigs.
So, we'll obviously follow it. We'll see it.
Before we stop, I'll say this before anybody thinks I'm criticizing, because I want to add this. I want to say this about Terrence Davis, and it applies to all these other kids too. What I'm most happy for Terrence Davis about, because I think Terrence has a chance. It's a remote chance, but a chance to be a first-round NBA pick. And I would have never, ever, ever thought that. He's had a phenomenal offseason. Apparently had a great workout in Utah yesterday, and they're legitimately interested. And Utah would be a superb fit for Terrence Davis. Do what you want to do. It's your life. Terrence Davis heard from so many people for years and years and years, you should play football. You should play football. You don't have a future in basketball. You should play football. And the thing was, and he liked football and was good at it. Made the Mississippi Alabama All-Star thingy. But that's not what he liked the most. He loved basketball, liked football. Liked it, likes watching it, friends with a bunch of football guys, loves basketball, loves it. It gives him joy. And that's what he pursued, and it just might work out. And so whatever Maurice Hampton or Jerry and Ely or all of those people, whatever it is that you love, Kyler Murray, do what you love.
Yeah, do that.
Do what you love, because here's the thing. If you don't love football, it's miserable. I've never heard anybody go, hey, man, you know what? I can't wait for football practice. It is going to be fun. And if you don't love baseball, sitting on the end of the bench for 3 hours and 15 minutes waiting to go pinch run in the 8th inning is not fun. Do what you love. It's your other life lesson. Do what you love because it's your life. You're the one that has to do it. And so if what Maurice Hampton decided was that wasn't worth it, and that was a gamble he was willing to take, God bless him.
Yeah, it's a free country. Do what you want.
It's your life. Do what you want. Don't let other people tell you what you should do and let that talk you into doing something. Do what you want to do. And if for Jerry and Ely, if that's football, then hey, man, Godspeed. Go play football. For Terrence Davis, if it's I want to be a basketball player.
Okay.
The great thing about Terrence Davis, whether this works out or not, and this is, man, he's talking about a gift. Terrence gave himself a wonderful gift. Because if this NBA thing doesn't work out, he will honestly be able to look at himself in the mirror and say, I gave it my all. I followed my dream. I followed my goal. And when the cat comes up to him and says, boy, you would have really been one hell of an NFL defensive back or wide receiver or whatever, he can look himself, he can say, yeah, thanks a lot. And then he can look himself in the mirror and say, but that's not what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I followed my dream. I chased my dream. And I either got it or I didn't. Either way, I have a lot of admiration for that.
Again, plenty of coverage at rebelgrove.com as the day moves on. We've got some MLB Draft stuff. We have a lot of recruiting up as well, and there'll be some baseball as they get ready to head to Fayetteville. I guess they are. I guess they're leaving Friday morning. I'm really not sure when they're leaving. But either way, game starts Saturday, 11 o'clock. So we'll have complete coverage from Baum Stadium and leading up to it as well. We'll be back with our podcast tomorrow here on the network. So appreciate you. We'll talk to you then.